Hey lovers, it's Mecki from Match by Mecki. Last night was episode 7 of The Bachelorette, so you know I gotta give y'all that good recap. Find out who made it to the fantasy suites and who came back for a little more Lawson.
Stranger, it's been a minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town.
Okay, guys, so last night was episode 7 of The Bachelorette, and it's time for fantasy suites. So everyone went to Fiji. Everyone except for me went to Fiji. There's still Dotun, Xavier, and Joey remaining. First up, there was Xavier. They went on a private island. And there were people from the Fijian culture that came out. They did some cultural singing and dancing, and they let them know these are basically, I don't want to say rituals because I feel like that's not the word, but these are basically things that happen for a wedding ceremony. So they got to put on the attire, which was cute. Charity looks super cute. And yeah, basically they learned wedding ceremony stuff. Xavier did keep mentioning how there was something he needed to be honest with Charity about. And I'm like, okay, hurry up. At least let us know. Cause this is like during those little confessional things. I'm like, at least let us know. Cause I don't like waiting. Just let me know. But yeah, basically he said he had to get something off his chest. Then here comes the Bachelor breaking the camera to San Diego. I'm like, who is in San Diego? Because I know Brayden is in San Diego. And remember I said I do not want to see Brayden back on this TV screen yet, not until the men tell all. Okay, well thankfully for me, it wasn't Brayden, it was Aaron. And I'm like, okay, Aaron, like what? And he basically said he is going to Fiji to go fight for his woman. Now, I can appreciate a man who will fight for their woman. So I don't know if he's necessarily Charity's man, but I still appreciate the fight, Aaron. So back to the date, because this is what the focus was supposed to be on, but the episode took me away. So then I had to go away on my recap, okay? But back to Charity and Xavier. He at dinner finally let her know that he cheated on an ex. She was not happy about it. I feel like her reaction was kind of like he told her he cheated on her. And for me, I appreciated his honesty. Like the fact that he was able to tell her, like, I know cheating is a big deal to you, so I'm just letting you know that I have cheated before. She stepped away and needed time to recollect or to collect herself. And I was just like, ma'am, this guy, yes, he didn't do like the nicest thing, but he didn't do the worst thing in the world, like something that's not uncommon. And I feel like as long as he's grown from that, then you should be able to say like, okay, thank you for your honesty. And she actually did do that. Now here's where things took a turn for the worse. I feel like every time he answered a question about it, he was digging the hole deeper and deeper for himself. Like he said, she wanted to know how many times. And he said he cheated multiple times within 5 days. Sir, you're saying this to someone. Yes, give her some details, but you don't have to give her all of them. Like, I was like, woo, that was a lot. And she still seemed, she was holding her card, the little fantasy suite card, and so she was still considering giving him the card. But she asked him like, well, do you know, are you able to stand firm that you wouldn't do that to me? And what he said was he has no doubt in his heart that he could stay loyal to her, but in his mind he will be able to find out tonight. I'm like, what you mean? You need to have a little session, make sure she meets your qualifications or standards or something before you can make a decision. Needless to say, at that point, She said she was mad, sad, frustrated, and disappointed, and that is when she decided to send that man home. And I do not blame her. I think Xavier is a great guy. Maybe what used to pique his interest before was him just collecting women, like he's walking around collecting Pokemons on the little Pokemon Go app. And now his interest is like, let me try something way opposite, and that's why he's interested in knitting. So I still do feel like Xavier is a great guy. I feel like maybe he overshared last night and that got him kicked to the curb. Next up was her time with Joey. She said she was still having concerns about what his Uncle Joe said, which is super understandable. I feel like if things like that stay in your mind, you should 1,000% express yourself if it's bothering you, and especially when it's someone you're considering spending the rest of your life with. But their date, Charity pulled up in an ATV. Joey got in. They looked like they were having a great time until the ATV stopped. I don't know if it got stuck in the mud or if the battery died. Whatever it was, the date did not go as planned. So they're walking through the forest in the water with their shoes on. I didn't know why they were walking with their shoes on in water, but maybe they're snakes. And production was like, no, don't take your shoes off. But then I'm like, well, their legs are exposed, so can't the snake just bite their legs? Anyway, they went and sat on a rock next to a waterfall, and I was like, that's sweet. I feel like I've never went and sat next to a rock on a waterfall, so that was cute. And basically they just talked. They didn't really do much on their date. I would have liked a little charcuterie board or something set up for me once we got to the rock, but that's just me. And in that moment, she did ask him about hometowns, like wanting him to elaborate what his family meant on that. And Joey did say he was uncomfortable in that moment. I think he even mentioned he didn't know his uncle was going to show up, so maybe that's kind of what threw him off, which I said they shouldn't have let that uncle come in so soon, but I also understood why the uncle was like, nah, this is my nephew and I need to see what's going on. But he also grown. Okay, here I go, going on my little tangent. But yeah, he said he was just uncomfortable in the moment. And I think he could have just been nervous about bringing a new girl home to meet his family. Who knows when's the last time he brought someone home. So maybe that was just an uncomfortable thing for him. So at dinner, she asked him if there was anything he was nervous about. He did let her know that sometimes he does show up as like a super confident person, but there is another side of him, and he pushes himself to show up as what other people are expecting him to be, which I think could be taken multiple ways, because I feel like for me, my energy is mostly high energy all the time, and people are always expecting a positive person. And so I feel like if I can't deliver that, and that is like the best version of me, then I just try to be like over here, because it's either I'm very happy or I'm a bitch. So I'm like, okay, I get that. But I still feel like there's another side, because when he showed up to be with his family, he showed up how he's been throughout the season, and his family said they didn't feel he was really being himself. So I'm like, you want him to show up as the not so confident version of him? Like, that just didn't make sense. I still feel like there's something missing. Either way, Charity still offered him the overnight fantasy card suite card, and he accepted. Before that, y'all, she did tell him she is in love with him. No longer falling, but is in love with him. And he's my number 2, so I'm not mad at it. But I do still feel like I would prefer for people to save that for the final day. Like, after you have made a real decision, I feel like people should only be telling that to one person. But yeah, so do you think it's possible for someone to be in love with 2 people at once? Because last week she was starting to fall in love with 4 of them. So now she's officially in love. Do you think you can be in love with 2 people? Let me know in the comments. Last up was the date with her and Dotun. And this is something that I want her to not overlook. She said Dotun makes her feel loved and appreciated, and I'm not appreciated, loved and prioritized. Girl, he makes you feel prioritized. That alone is a reason to be like, end the season. Because there's not a lot of people who will make you feel prioritized. So I think that is just another green flag in Dotun's book, but that's just me on the outside looking in. But anyway, for their date, they went on jet skis. It looked like they had a lot of fun. I personally would not be on no jet skis. Maybe I'm not so adventurous, but that's totally fine because I'm not the Bachelorette, so I don't have to be. But yeah, basically she was letting him know how she loved the conversation with his mom. She really enjoyed that conversation. He told her that he, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, just found out what happens at the end of The Bachelor. He didn't realize he was supposed to be proposing, but he was like, you know what, for charity, absolutely, I'm down for it. Because when you know, you just know, you know? He said that dating her felt like a fairy tale. It seemed like she was feeling like everything is too good to be true. And I'm like, girl, when you have someone that makes you feel so great, so good, if something bad happens, let it happen when it does. Don't go looking for it. Like, don't go trying to find, like, where's, like, what's red? Like, red mixed with a, like, where's the pink flag? Don't go looking for a pink flag, like, or a red flag. Just accept all these green flags, girl. You deserve it, you know? At dinner, she asked him if he was scared of anything as far as moving forward in their relationship. And he basically was just saying how he's scared of how, you know, the scary part is not being scared, or the scary part is how easy it is to let her know how much he loves her. And I just feel like that is the way to go. This is the vibe of the show, okay? She said she's 100% in love with him, and I was like, well, how you 100% in love with him, but you just told Joey that you're in love with him? So shouldn't it be at least like 50% in love with Dotun, or maybe 70, and then you tell Joey you're 30, 70, 80, 90, 100, 30% in love with him? Like, you can't be saying 100% in love, because that's gonna make Dotun think, oh, I got this in the bag. She's really about to choose me. And I don't want Dotun's heart to be broken, okay? But yeah, basically, she offered him the fantasy suite card. He accepted. And she said when they're together, her expectations are exceeded. Truly, truly. And that is what she said. So y'all take from that whatever y'all will, but I'm totally here for it. Last up, Aaron rolled up. I totally forgot about him. He went and found Charity sitting by the pool. We're not about to spend too much time on him because I feel like he's not supposed to be there in the first place, but whatever. He already got sent packing. She said she wasn't mad about him showing up. She was excited to see him, but didn't really understand why he was there. He said when she sent him home, she mentioned how she wasn't sure she was making the right decision, and that's what stuck with him. That was one of the things that stuck with him and made him come back to see her. So he gave her a minute. I'm hoping that of course, the episode ended in a cliffhanger, so we don't know if she's gonna let him return, or if she's gonna be like, yes, sorry, but I do feel like my connection with these two that are here are stronger. And I'm hoping that it's the latter, because you already sent these people home. You cannot just be bringing people back. If I was Dotun or Joey, I would be like, oh yeah, well then no. Like, if you still feel like you need to bring more people back or more people in, then I'm leaving. And I would hate that for Dotun. I would also dislike that for Joey, but it's just like not fair to them for you guys to be this far along and be like considering bringing someone back in, you know? But yeah, anyway, next week is the Men Tell All. And then the week after that, Charity's family will be joining them in Fiji. Charity does mention she's talking to, I think, her mom, saying how she's having a hard time deciding, and her mom is like, deep down, you know who your person is. And I agree with the mom. Sometimes it's not as easy to go with the person who you know is your person, but I feel like in this particular situation, girl, make the right decision. I could tell you who the right decision is. But that was my recap on episode 7 of The Bachelorette. Let me know what you guys thought about last night's episode. Do you guys think she's going to bring Aaron back? She better not bring Aaron back. And yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share it with a friend. If you have another show that's coming up you want me to recap, let me know. And I will see you all next time.